17 years ago in America, evil had a name, and that name was Al-Qaeda.
The United States of America is an enemy of those who aid terrorists and of the barbaric criminals who profane a great religion by committing murder in its name.
But that was 17 years ago. In more recent days, things just aren't as clear-cut. In Syria's Idlib province, the terrorist group known as Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, previously known as Al-Qaeda in Syria, is alive and kicking. Now, the UN's special envoy for Syria, Staffan de Mistura, says that over 10,000 Al-Qaeda-linked fighters are in the area. For a long time, the USA has promised that it will separate the moderate opposition from the designated terrorist groups, but this separation just hasn't happened. And at this point, it seems like U.S. officials are focused on raising the alarm about the Syrian government's efforts to retake rebel-held territories.
President Bashar al-Assad of Syria must not recklessly attack Idlib province.
In fact, the Trump administration has already made it clear that if indeed there is a chemical attack, they already know who did it.
If there are chemical weapons that are used, we know exactly who's going to use them.
John Bolton, Trump's national security advisor, says that the idea that anybody but the Syrian government might use chemical weapons is just crazy.
This is just another example.
The government of Russia and others have said that we are giving the authorization for Al-Qaeda to use chemical weapons and try and pin it on the government of Syria. One of the most outrageous claims that I can think of. Ultimately, if Syria is put back together, this is the perfect kind of example of a case where the people of Syria themselves are going to have to confront what governments did, what their government did purportedly in their name.
So apparently Al-Qaeda brought down the Twin Towers, but they're just not evil enough to release some chlorine gas. Now, the UN Special Envoy disagrees and says that the terrorists are very capable of conducting chemical attacks.
The government, on one hand, and Al-Nusra, which is an organization declared terrorist by the Security Council, are having the capability to produce weaponized chlorine.
It quickly stopped being a war about democracy, let's put it that way. So there is no distinction, and I think the United States knows this. It didn't matter to the United States who won so long as Assad lost. The Americans are looking for a way to stop the Syrian and Russian advance on Idlib and prevent this conflict from being over. The Syrian government will be responsible for chemical attacks, regardless of who does them.
This isn't the first time that U.S. foreign policy has zigzagged when it comes to Al-Qaeda. Back in the 1980s, they called Osama bin Laden a freedom fighter when he was battling against the Democratic Republic of Afghanistan. CIA gave him guns, and U.S. media cheered him on. It seems now U.S. foreign policy regarding the Al-Qaeda terrorists has gone full circle. Caleb Maupin, RT, New York.